The nationalists lose more than 400,000 men. Only 150,000 are able to escape south.
What?
30,000 Chinese prisoners of war are shot in mass executions.
Oh my god.
Others are decapitated, or buried alive, or used for bayonet practice.
Oh my god.
Up in the streets.
Oh my god.
And dumped in the Yangtze River.
Oh my gosh.
Within a year, US factories are turning out more vehicles, ships and aircraft than all the other combatant powers put together.
What the fuck? I was not expecting Episode TV to release the other part of this series. War with Japan.
China, 1937. Tensions have been rising on the border with Manchukuo, a puppet state run by an increasingly militaristic Japan.
I thought it was Manchukuo. Oh no.
So far, China's nationalist leader, Chiang Kai-shek, has carefully avoided a major confrontation. His strategy has been to buy time, to eliminate his internal communist enemies first. But bowing to increasing anti-Japanese sentiment across China, he has concluded a truce with the communists.
Bro, Chiang Kai-shek had the right idea, bro.
On the 7th of July,
he had the right idea. I don't know why everyone just couldn't see it his way. Then again, not everyone was. Some people were, I don't know, your average folk probably didn't give a shit about ideologies.
At the Marco Polo Bridge outside Peking, there's an argument over a missing Japanese soldier, and shots are fired.
Who shot it first? Who shot it first?
Within days, Japanese reinforcements flood the area. But this time, China is ready to push back. In a speech made 10 days after the Marco Polo Bridge incident, Chiang Kai-shek warns of the struggle ahead. Let our people fully understand the meaning of the limit of endurance and the scale of sacrifice implied. For once that stage is reached, we can only sacrifice and fight to the bitter end. The national mood is summed up by a popular song, March of the Volunteers. In 1978, March of the Volunteers will become China's official national anthem.
Oh wow, that's
Fighting
mad.
Around Peking rapidly escalates into a full-scale invasion. Some historians consider this the moment World War II begins.
And I agree, because China was a front in World War II. The reason why we would say, oh, World War II began when Germany invaded Poland, that's just no, because, you know, Eurocentric BS, literally Eurocentric BS. And here's the thing to better explain that. When the Germans invaded Poland in 1939, at the time, it was just known as the German-Polish War, right? And when Germany got warred on by Britain and France, yes, it became like, it wasn't even global yet, right? Because Germany didn't have any overseas colonies, right? So it was just a European war. That's all it was at the time. It was just a European war. It wasn't really until America got involved that it truly turned into a world war. And who got America involved? Japan, right? Because Japan was being aggressive. Okay, and Japan was the first one who started being aggressive. Okay, so by invading China, which is why I also agree that World War II started with the invasion of China, not when Germany invaded Poland. No, because Japan was literally fighting two different opponents on two different sides of the world. Literally. It's literally because of Japan that World War II truly became a world war, really and truly. But yeah, I don't know why people think it's fucking 1939. And not only that, when Japan but attacked America and it became a fucking world war, China was considered a front. Everyone considers China part of World War II, so they say that it started in 1939. No, it started in China in 1937. I agree with that. Not that Eurocentric bullshit.
Chiang Kai-shek's National Revolutionary Army, the NRA, is in the unusual position of receiving support from both the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany. But it's not enough to hold back the Japanese Imperial Army. With superior tactics, modern equipment, and air superiority, they smash through Chinese defenses. Within 6 weeks, nearly 200,000 Japanese troops have occupied a broad swathe of northern China, including the old imperial capital, Peking. But it's in Shanghai that both sides will plunge into the abyss.
Oh boy.
Shanghai is the largest city in China, and its commercial and cultural capital. The heart of the city is the International Settlement, established by Western imperial powers in the 19th century, and jointly run by 14 countries, including Japan. The Japanese have recently overtaken the British as the largest foreign presence in Shanghai, with 30,000 civilians, as well as 8,000 Marines and 32 naval vessels.
Damn!
Chiang Kai-shek sees an opportunity to divert the Japanese from their northern offensive, while also bringing the war to international attention. On the 13th of August, he orders Chinese forces to attack Japanese ships moored in Shanghai. The Japanese send reinforcements. Shanghai and the surrounding region become a major battlefront, drawing in 1 million troops.
Whoa!
The city is devastated in fierce urban fighting, with tanks on the streets, poison gas attacks, and air raids. The NRA suffers heavy losses, particularly to its elite German-trained divisions. Late October, it begins to withdraw. A single battalion is left behind to hold the Sihang warehouse. In desperate fighting, the Suicide Battalion holds out for 6 precious days. Buying time for other units to escape. Their sacrifice and the horrors of the battle occur directly under the gaze of foreign observers based in Shanghai's international settlement, where they are shielded from the worst of the fighting. Their images and reports quickly travel around the world, and turn Western public opinion firmly against the Japanese.
Chiang Kai-shek, you are a genius.
What happens next will shock the world.
Oh yeah, this. Ugh, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh boy. Yep. Yep.
Japanese forces pursue the retreating NRA to the new nationalist capital, Nanking. After a ferocious 4-day battle, they enter the city on the 13th of December. The few Westerners inside the city form an international safety zone to shelter themselves and some of the local population. But most Chinese civilians are left to the mercy of the Japanese. For 6 weeks, Japanese soldiers go on the rampage, looting, torturing, raping, and murdering. The numbers are disputed, but between 50,000 and 300,000 civilians are killed. Around 30,000 Chinese prisoners of war are shot in mass executions.
Oh my god.
Others are decapitated, or buried alive, or used for bayonet practice.
Oh my god.
Up in the streets.
Oh my
god. And dumped in the Yangtze River.
Oh my gosh, man.
The International Safety Zone is managed by German businessman and Nazi supporter John Rabe. He is appalled by the violence and hopes Hitler will intervene to stop the Japanese.
Yo! That's, yo! You got, I can't even say it. You got the Germans, I'm just gonna say that. You got the Germans appalled, bro. That's mad. That's mad.
Instead, the fall of Nanking convinces the Nazis that Japan is the stronger partner, and Germany cuts off its military support to China. The rape of Nanking appalls the world. It is condemned by the USA and League of Nations, the international body dedicated to maintaining world peace. But their words are not backed up by action. Atrocities become a feature of the Japanese war against China. The systematic...
Actually, America did do something. America imposed the oil embargo in response to the Nanking massacre on Japan, and this would eventually lead to Pearl Harbor because, well, Japan needed oil, so because of the embargo. I mean, had Japan just simply not freaking massacred Nanking, I don't know, maybe Pearl Harbor would have never happened. I don't know. Think about it like that, because again, the oil embargo happened because of Nanking, and Japan needed oil, so that's why they decided to do Pearl Harbor to get the oil. Maybe Japan would have decided to go north, not wanting to, because Japan had two plans: to invade Siberia or to go south and get the resources there. So they had two options. I don't know, maybe America still trading with them, had they not done the massacre, would have influenced their decision to attack the Soviet Union instead of attacking the Western Allied powers. I don't know. It's a very interesting thing to think about.
Take use of rape as a weapon of war.
Still used.
Prostitution on a massive scale. And the use of chemical and biological weapons on civilians and prisoners of war, which killed many thousands. The Japanese army's next objective is Wuhan. There is a rare Chinese victory at the Battle of Taiyuan, but it is not enough to halt the Japanese. Chiang Kai-shek's government makes a desperate and fateful decision. The order is given to breach dikes holding back the Yellow River at Huayuankou. The hope is that the floods will stop the Japanese army in its tracks. In early June, the floodwaters of the Yellow River surge south and east across the densely populated North China Plain. There has been no advance warning to the villages and towns in its path.
Oh shit.
The consequences are catastrophic.
Oh shit.
Farmland and entire villages are submerged. 500,000 civilians perish. 5 million are made homeless.
Oh my gosh, bro. These numbers! I don't care if these numbers are normal for China. Bro, this is still a shit ton of people.
The loss of farmland will cause famine and hardship for years to come. One of the greatest man-made disasters in history.
Wow.
Committed by the Chinese government against its own people.
Shit, man. What would you do in this situation? It's like shit, man. I can't even blame him. I cannot blame him. I cannot blame. Oh my gosh. Freaking hell. What a tough decision to be in. Did it even have any effect on the Japanese advance though? That's the real question. Did it? That's the question. What was the result of it? Also, this is probably like this is what really gave the communists the much needed fuel that they needed in terms of getting support. This right here. So this may have been one of the most consequential, however the hell you pronounce it, consequential decisions in history that nobody really talks about.
The floods failed to stop the Japanese.
Oh, well, shit.
They merely bypassed the affected areas. By the time China...
Well, it protected Henan. I mean, they bypassed it, yeah, but, you know, it kind of worked.
Chinese and Japanese forces clash near Wuhan. There are nearly 2 million men engaged. The battle for the city is hard fought, with heavy losses on both sides. But once again, Japanese air power and tactics, alongside the widespread use of poison gas, prove decisive.
Ay, ay, ay.
The city falls after 4 months. The nationalist government retreats 500 miles further inland, to Chongqing, in the western province of Sichuan. The Japanese now occupy China's largest cities and install a new puppet government in Nanking. But despite its victories, the Japanese army is too exhausted to land another major blow.
Yeah, China is big, bro.
A stalemate. Historians label this conflict the Second Sino-Japanese War. The Chinese call it the War of Resistance. But it is about to become a crucial front in a world war.
Woo! We got 20 minutes left of this shit too, man. As the rising sun melts. Wait, the quality is ass. 380p, what the fuck? Oh, hell no. No, that's much better.
By 1939, China's only major foreign backer is the Soviet Union. It provides crucial supplies, and its pilots and aircraft make up most of the nationalist air force. The Soviets are fighting their own war against Japan, a widely forgotten conflict on Russia's Far Eastern frontier. But that summer, with war looming in Europe, Stalin makes a truce with Japan. It is signed on the 15th of September. 2 days later, Soviet troops invade Poland as allies of Nazi Germany. Despite losing its major...
Would we say allies? Would we say allies of Germany? I would more so say co-belligerent. Because people say that the Soviet Union and Germany were allies, but I think that's not the appropriate word to use. They were more like just coexisting with each other, because there was a shit ton of border conflicts between the Germans and Germans and Soviets as soon as they connected borders with each other, that everyone seems to forget about.
Foreign ally, China fights on against the...
Also, Stalin tested the Germany, and he sent an invitation to join the Axis just to see how the Germans would respond to it, and it was ignored, and that kind of, told him everything that he needed to know. Honestly, it was a brilliant move on his part, really and truly.
Japanese occupation. Chongqing becomes a nationalist redoubt, pummeled by more than 200 Japanese air raids. While in northern China, communists carry out large-scale guerrilla attacks on the Japanese.
We're seeing the communists.
Between communists and nationalists has once more been broken off. The nationalists now receive foreign arms and supplies via French Indochina, today Vietnam, Cambodia and Laos. So in 1940, Japan occupies French Indochina to cut the link.
Interesting, because I heard that the way how this was viewed is if Japan occupied French Indochina, then it made it very obvious that Japan was planning to go south. It made it very obvious, because what I learned is that French Indochina, there was no real strategic reason to occupy French Indochina for Japan in terms of the war in China, but I'm hearing different here. Interesting.
But this fresh act of Japanese imperialism alarms the Western powers, whose Southeast Asian colonies are now within range of Japanese forces.
Okay, so I was partially correct.
US, Britain and the Dutch impose an oil embargo on Japan, which threatens to cripple its economy and its war effort in China.
Interesting. I heard the oil embargo was put due to the Nanking Massacre, not because of the occupation of French Indochina. I might have heard some propaganda. I might have been taught some propaganda here, folks. Who do I believe? No, seriously though, like, who do I believe? But I actually don't know.
The Western powers,
someone asked that question.
Will back down. But in Tokyo, the decision is taken to gamble on war.
Yeah, gamble.
December 1941, the Japanese launch a surprise attack on the US naval base at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. They simultaneously bomb US and British bases across Southeast Asia. In a series of rapid, bold advances, the Japanese capture British colonies including Hong Kong and Singapore, the Philippines, and the oil-rich Dutch East Indies. But Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor has woken a sleeping giant. Within a year, US factories are turning out more vehicles, ships, and aircraft than all the other combatant powers put together.
What the fuck?
China will be one.
You know, it's funny because I see people will say Germany was the strongest country in World War II. Yeah, no. No. It was America. It was America by a long shot. Not it, bro. If you say Germany was the strongest in World War II, my brother in Christ. You think a country the size of fucking Nevada is stronger than the entire continental United States? Yeah. Okay, buddy.
Beneficiary, receiving more than $1.5 billion worth of armaments as part of the US Lend-Lease program. When the Japanese take Burma, supplies have to be flown into China from India, a perilous route over the Himalayas, known to US pilots as the Hump.
The Hump?
Chiang Kai-shek also receives a new chief military advisor, the famously acerbic US General Vinegar Joe Stilwell. Stilwell regards Chiang as a stubborn, ignorant, prejudiced and conceited despot. The loathing is mutual. Chiang, like many, finds Stilwell's arrogant and overbearing manner hard to stomach. Further aid comes in the form of Major General Claire Chennault's famous Flying Tigers.
Never heard of these people.
This elite squadron of American volunteers has remarkable success against the Japanese Air Force.
What the? Yo, look at those numbers.
As the war goes on, more US air units arrive in China, leading to the construction of several US air bases. China is now one of the four major Allied powers, alongside the US, Britain, and Soviet Union.
My brother in Christ.
In November 1943, Chiang travels to Cairo, Egypt, to attend a conference with British Prime Minister Winston Churchill and US President Franklin Roosevelt. Chinese resistance is tying down nearly 1 million Japanese soldiers, and they assure Chiang of increased support, though in reality, neither sees China as a priority. Yet help is desperately needed. What remains of the Chinese economy is collapsing, with rampant inflation, corruption, and a devastated industrial sector. The nationalist government is struggling to pay its soldiers, who desert in growing numbers. Just as Japan is preparing to launch its largest operation of the war.
What an interesting situation here. Both sides are too weak to do anything, but he says that Japan is about to do something, so
probably one of the
what a quote, bro. They're losing the battles but winning the wars. Yo, the December 1944. Bro, December 1944, that's basically when everyone knew that the Axis were fucking losing.
1944. Japan is on the back foot against the Allies in the Pacific. It hopes to salvage the situation with a massive offensive in China to link up northern China with Indochina and destroy US airfields in the south that are used to bomb Japan. The codename is Operation Ichigo. Weakened Chinese forces break under the onslaught. Several US air bases are taken, and the connection between North and South is established by October. Once more, the Chinese military suffers enormous losses. Defeat is another blow to Chiang's reputation. But when Stilwell demands that he be put in direct command of all Chinese forces, Chiang gets him replaced. Yet US faith in Chiang is fraying. Some contrast nationalist corruption and incompetence with the success of the Chinese communists, who continue to wage their guerrilla warfare campaign against the Japanese in the north. But the success of Operation Ichigo comes too late to save Japan. In the spring of 1945, the last major Japanese offensive in China is defeated, and Chinese troops counterattack. US strategic bombing of Japan's home islands culminates in August 1945 with the dropping of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah, we all know it.
Simultaneously, the Soviet Union invades Manchuria. Within a week, Emperor Hirohito announces Japan's unconditional surrender to the Allies. The Second World War is over. The death toll is staggering. Between 15 and 20 million Chinese lives are lost. Only the Soviet Union suffers more. Then there is the multitude of wounded, the refugees, and the destitute. The country will have to undergo complete reconstruction. But who will lead it is still to be settled.
Yeah, bro, we still got the Chinese Civil War to deal with, bro. Mao Zedong. Civil War, yep.
Japan's defeat leaves a vacuum in China, which both nationalists and communists rush to fill. From the Soviet Union, the communists receive Manchuria and captured Japanese weaponry, while the US and Britain fly nationalist forces into northern and eastern China. In an effort to prevent open conflict, Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong meet for US-sponsored talks in Chongqing. The agreement they reach is short-lived. As Chiang Kai-shek remarks to his aides, the sky cannot have two suns.
Ah, what a quote, bro. Oh, and the fucking irony in that statement, because, yeah, we all know what happened.
In 1946, civil war erupts. as Chiang launches an assault on the communist-held north, led by his elite US-trained divisions.
Oh wow, so it was Chiang Kai-shek who started it off. Oh wow.
The nationalists make advances, taking Shanyang and the communists' wartime base in Yan'an. But the communists weather the storm, avoiding major battles and sticking to their wartime guerrilla tactics. And in rural areas, their program of land reform attracts many thousands of peasants to their cause. In contrast,
you see, that's the thing with communism. Communism, you know, communism isn't completely bad. Now, I don't support communism, but I don't blame someone if they support communism, if that makes sense.
The nationalists have been burnishing their reputation for incompetent and corrupt government. Chinese industry and trade have been devastated by war. But economic mismanagement adds to the misery, causing hyperinflation. And despite heavy backing from the US in loans and military supplies, the nationalists are rapidly losing support in both cities and rural areas. In 1947, General Lin Biao reorganizes communist forces into the People's Liberation Army, nearly 1 million strong. Mao decides this is the moment to abandon guerrilla tactics and take on the nationalists in open warfare. In a string of successful counter-offensives, the communists capture territory, weapons and supplies, and conscript deserters and prisoners into their ranks. The tide of war is shifting dramatically. In September 1948, the People's Liberation Army launches 3 major offensives. In the first, Lin Biao sweeps the nationalists out of Manchuria. The nationalists lose more than 400,000 men. Only 150,000 are able to escape south.
What? What? This is Operation Barbarossa type shit. Casualties. What?
The following month, 2 simultaneous campaigns lead to the capture of Tianjin and Zhuzhou. It is a disastrous winter for the nationalists, who suffer another 500,000 casualties and lose much of their best military equipment. In just 4 months, the communists have won 3 major victories and driven their enemies from northern China. In the southern cities, there is chaos and lawlessness as nationalist rule breaks down. That spring, the communist advance continues. In April, they take Nanking, and the following month, China's largest city, Shanghai. On the 1st of October 1949, Mao Zedong, chairman of the Chinese Communist Party, stands before a packed Tiananmen Square in Peking.
Wow. The history has a way of foreshadowing.
And proclaims the founding of the People's Republic of China. That winter, the last nationalist-held areas fall to communist forces. It's estimated more than 2 million soldiers were killed or wounded in the 4 years of China's civil war. Perhaps another 5 million civilians perish through fighting, famine, and disease.
Bro, these big numbers are fucking killing me, man.
Chiang Kai-shek, alongside some 2 million nationalist troops and many refugees, retreats to Taiwan.
2 million nationalist troops and you couldn't fucking hold the front line? Are you kidding me? What?
One of the last territories still under nationalist control. Chiang Kai-shek will never return to mainland China. Where Mao Zedong and the Communist Party are triumphant. Now the work will begin to build a new China from the wreckage of invasion and civil war. Do you want to watch unreleased new?
That was mad. That was mad. If you like my reactions and you want to see more of my reactions and you know some videos that you would definitely love to see my reaction to, comment it in the comments down below. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. If you made it all the way here, check out my other China reactions, man, and my other Epic History TV reactions, or just my other reactions in general, man. If you are a active viewer and you have suggestions for me, you constantly comment and whatnot, I highly recommend you check out my channel membership. It is only 99 cents a month. I purposely made it cheap so that, you know, my active viewers could, you know, keep in contact with me, basically. Okay, your suggestions are done quicker, your comments are much more priority to reply to. You get access to the member-only Discord server where communication with me is almost instant. Like I said, we have 7 members and they are not disappointed at all, okay? Like I said, man, only 99 cents. And as we get more members, I'm going to expand the perks. The video that I just did there yesterday, the members already knew that I was going to do that video, all right? But anyways, man, the link to all the perks that you get is going to be in the comments below the channel membership video, because I'm not going to say all the perks that you get, man. Thank you for watching and goodbye.